Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Alex, and today we're talking about vitamins. So, vitamins are something that everybody knows about, but you know, do you know what vitamins are in what foods, or or how they manifest themselves, what they're good for, what deficiencies look like? So, to start off, there are two types of vitamins. There are fat soluble vitamins and there are water soluble vitamins. So the fat soluble vitamins are vitamin A, D, E, and K, and those are taken in through our dietary fats. So and this is one of the reasons why eating fat in your diet is important, because otherwise you wouldn't get in as much of the vitamins as you need, or they wouldn't be transported around your body properly. So because they're taken in through the diet, they like to live in the fatty deposits in our bodies, like our eyes, our adipose tissues, all that sort of stuff. So because of that, and because we can build up big stores of them, especially in our livers, then we don't need to necessarily take in those vitamins every day. So just a regular supply of them is fine. You build up your stores over time. Whereas on the other side, water soluble vitamins, we take them in through our water, they go through our GI tract, and because we're constantly taking in water and flushing it out, those vitamins tend to need to be replaced much more regularly. So the water soluble vitamins are the B vitamins and vitamin C. So what I'd like to do is to take a look at each of the vitamins as and kind of go through what they're good for, what good sources of them are, and how you can kind of get an indicator of when you're not taking in enough of them, or how a deficiency might present itself. Now, I do want to preface it that don't assume you have a deficiency in something. The only way of really telling is by getting your blood work done. So, go to your GP or go to a nurse. You can get your bloods run for a full screen of vitamins and minerals, and at least then you can get a sense of if there is dietary supplementation needed or anything. Okay, so vitamin A is good for good vision, healthy skin, your bone health, your reproductive system. It's good for embryo development, and it's good for gene expressions. So some of the good sources of vitamin A are from dark leafy greens. So that's the likes of spinach, kale, mustard greens, collards. Another big source of it is liver. So if you're a fan of liver, we tend to store a lot of vitamin A in our livers, but also animals that eat, or that we might eat the livers of, they would also store them too. So they're a really rich source. And actually, that's one thing that, say, Inuit and people living in kind of northern Canada can have a bit of an issue with. By eating kind of polar bears and walrus livers, you can actually get hypervitaminosis, and that can be dangerous eating those because they have such high levels of vitamin A in them. Other sources would be kind of egg yolks, that they're a good source of vitamin A, as well as the red, orange, and yellow vegetables. So that's the likes of carrots, sweet potatoes, pumpkins, squashes, beets, peaches, apricots, all the sort of yellow, orange foods or vegetables. And when you're not getting enough vitamin A, it can present itself as kind of dry and rough skin. You can have poor vision at night. Acne will be another thing, or dry eyes. So they're an indicator, but again, don't just assume because you have dry eyes that you have a vitamin A deficiency. Okay, the next vitamin that we're going to look at is vitamin B1. So it's also known as thiamine, and because B1 is present in so many of the foods that we would eat, deficiencies in it are pretty rare. So it's useful for producing energy. It's critical for nerve function, and it's good for synthesizing DNA and RNA. Now, sources of it include beans and legumes, seeds, soy, pork, nutritional yeast for vegetarians and who wouldn't kind of go with the pork idea, or whole grains and cereals. And spinach is actually another really good source of B1 as well. Now, Deficiencies, like I said, are rare in it, but a deficiency in vitamin B1 is known as beriberi, and that can present itself with symptoms of burning feet, nausea, fatigue, loss of appetite, swelling. Um, Again, it's rare, but there's some of the symptoms of it. Or another kind of avenue for deficiency is with a lot of alcoholics, because B1 is used to break down and neutralize drugs in your system. When you're trying to break down a lot of alcohol, it can lead to the symptoms like beriberi, but memory loss can be another one as well. So that's just something to watch out for. Okay, next on the list then is vitamin B2. It's also known as riboflavin. So that's like the rest of the B vitamins, it's also really important for energy transfer. But B2 is used for antioxidation, it's good for your skin health, it's good for creating red blood cells, and it's great for metabolizing iron. So that's what's important in breaking down the iron in your diet. So good sources of it are the likes of soybeans, mushrooms, eggs, dairy, and you'll notice on a lot of milk there'll be that riboflavin on it. That's B2. Nutritional yeast, whole grains, especially wheat, shrimp, and like everything else, it seems spinach is a great source of B2. Now, not getting enough of it in your diet can lead to skin irritation with rashes, mouth inflammation, conjunctivitis, loss of or light sensitivity, loss of appetite, anemia and fatigue because you're not breaking down the iron in your diet. And another one is it can contribute to anxiety. So especially at the moment with a lot of stuff going on, it's really important to make sure that you are getting in that proper B2, so it might help alleviate some of that. We have vitamin B3, which is niacin. So niacin is important for DNA repair, for skin health, for nerve health, and your digestive system. It's also important for cell signaling, so your body essentially telling itself how to work. And it's also important in cholesterol management and managing your levels of cholesterol. It controls kind of how your cells produce lipids and stuff. So it is a really important one. Now, sources of it are the likes of, again, whole grains, so wheats, buckwheat, mushrooms, canned tomato products, so tinned tomatoes, tomato pastes, that sort of thing, and meats, so beef, pork, chicken, fish is also a good source of niacin, and liver, again, is an important one. Now, not getting enough of it in your diet is similar to B2. It causes damage to your mucous membranes, which can lead to rashes and skin irritations or mouth inflammation. Now, it can also lead to diarrhea, or it can contribute to the development of dementia. Okay, next one on the list then is vitamin B5. It's also known as pantothenic acid. Because this is so prevalent in a lot of foods that we eat, again, deficiencies in this are very rare. So what it's important for is synthesizing cholesterol, steroid hormones, and neurotransmitters. So that's all really important for controlling your hormone levels and, again, how your body functions. It's also important for drug metabolization, and it's, again, important for your skin health. So what you might be seeing here is there's a trend where a B deficiency can lead to poor skin health. So another thing is it's also important for the production of a molecule known as acetyl-CoA, which is an important molecule for biochemical reactions, which handle kind of nutrient metabolization. So again, it's a really important one for just helping your body break down the foods that you eat and getting the right stuff out of it. So because it's so prevalent as well, there's plenty of sources and varied sources. So you have the likes of mushrooms, corn, avocados, peas, potatoes and sweet potatoes, poultry, fish and other seafoods, yogurt, egg yolks, and lentils. So they'd all be good sources of the B5. Now, like I said, deficiencies in it are really rare, so only in cases of maybe very extreme malnutrition you might see tingly feet. But again, because it's so prevalent in most of our diets, that's a very rare occurrence. Next vitamin on the list is vitamin B6. So this is also known as pyridoxine, and this is one of the really important B vitamins that it's responsible for controlling a lot of our bodily functions. So it's really important for red blood cell metabolization, nutrient metabolization. It's important for glycogen breakdown. So when you take in carbohydrates, how it breaks down that glycogen to be used as energy. It's really important for nerve and immune function. It's also important as well for steroid hormone production and neurotransmitter production. So again, this is one though that it's prevalent in a lot of foods. So the likes of potatoes and sweet potatoes, sunflower seeds, fish, your pork, beef, poultry. It's in chickpeas, bananas, plantains, and again, the wonder food, spinach. So like a lot of other B vitamins as well, not getting enough of it can present as damage to your mucous membranes, which results in rashes or mouth inflammation. But B6 has a nastier side, that a deficiency can lead to confusion, nervous systems disorders, and anemia. But it can also contribute to anxiety, sleeplessness, irritability, and in extreme cases, depression as well. So this is a really important one to make sure you're getting plenty of in your diet. Next then is vitamin B7, so it's biotin. Now, deficiencies in this are kind of rare. One thing that can lead to a condition called avidin is eating too many too many egg whites. So again, it's not that common because it's so prevalent in a lot of foods, but it's important for energy production and DNA replication. So sources of the B7 are nuts and peanuts, sweet potatoes, onions, mushrooms, tomatoes, beans and legumes, dairy, again liver, fish, pork, egg yolks are a good source as well, as is chocolate. Now, how a deficiency might present itself would be kind of dry, rashy skin, conjunctivitis, nausea, loss of appetite, hair loss or hair thinning can be a symptom of a biotin deficiency, as can depression. So again, it's really important to make sure you're getting in your proper B vitamins every day. On the list then is vitamin B9. It's also known as folate. So folate is really important for pregnant women especially. It's really important for metabolizing nucleic and amino acids, so it's protein. It's important for breaking down vitamins B12 and vitamin C, and it helps form new proteins and is really important in fetal development. So the good sources of it are beans and legumes, chicken livers, your leafy greens, like again, spinach, the wonder food, kale, asparagus, and broccoli. So how a deficiency might present itself is anemia or low white blood cell count, weakness and weight loss, cracking or redness of your tongue, diarrhea, and with pregnancies it can result in low birth weights or preterm deliveries. And last of the B vitamins is B12, and it's also known as cobalamin. So deficiencies in B12 are really rare because we can literally store decades worth of B12 in our bodies, but this is a good thing because the older we get, the less able we are to absorb the B12 from our diets. So absorption can be a problem for a lot of people as well, who, especially those who are on antacids or protein pump inhibitors, so it's to control like stomach acid, that sort of thing. Most of those people, actually nearly all of them, will have to supplement with B12. Now, the other funny thing about B12 is that the only source of it is from bacteria, but only bacteria found in animals. So vegetarians and vegans will have to supplement B12. Good sources of it are fish and shellfish, beef, and dairy. Deficiencies in it can present themselves as neurological problems, so poor memory, mania, psychosis, and dementia. It can also lead to fatigue and weakness, loss of appetite, weight loss, and again, depression. So again, it's really important to make sure that we're getting all of our B vitamins in regularly. Now, vitamin C, I think, is one that we're all pretty familiar with. Everybody knows it comes from oranges, but what it's also known as is ascorbic acid, and what it's important for is it's an antioxidant, so it helps manage the free radicals in your system. It's important for building collagen, for improving iron absorption. It helps regenerate vitamin E supplies. It metabolizes cholesterol in your system, and it helps synthesize norepinephrine and carnitine. So it's a really important all-around vitamin. Now, source-wise, it's not just oranges that you get it from. So it's most colourful fruits and vegetables and organ meats. So, livers, kidneys, other offal. Now, being deficient in it can lead to poor wound healing, longer bruising, poor dental health, and, as every pirate knows, scurvy. Now, on the flip side of it, getting too much vitamin C can give you diarrhea, or it can increase your risk of getting kidney stones. And vitamin D is also known as the sunshine vitamin. So this one, you can never get too much of it. A lot of us, though, in the northern hemisphere tend to get too little of it, because obviously if it comes from the sun and we don't have the sun all year round, that can lead to some deficiencies. Why it's important, or I suppose how we get it from the sun, it's consumed and synthesized in our skin, then it kind of enters the bloodstream and then is brought to the liver, where it's broken down into several other kind of submolecules for use. Now, what it's used for is its immune system functionality. It regulates your blood pressure, maintains serum calcium levels, it regulates your glucose tolerance, and it's for cell differentiation. So it's a really important vitamin for just making your body work properly. There are additional sources that you can get it from. So if you're not getting it from the sun, you can get it from the likes of fortified dairy. So it's milk with added vitamin D in it. You can get it from fish, from egg yolks, from shrimp, from beef liver, and mushrooms. So when you do have a vitamin D deficiency, for kids, it can lead to rickets, which is kind of poor growth, deformed bones, soft teeth, and in adults, you can get low bone density and poor dental health. Okay, vitamin E then. This is actually made up of 8 different antioxidants. So there's the tocopherols and the tocotrienols. So there's 4 of each. Deficiencies in vitamin E are very rare, except in people who are very malnourished. What vitamin E does is, it, as I said, is an antioxidant, so it tidies up a lot of those free radicals in your blood. It's used for cell signaling and in expression of your immunity and inflammation cells. So it kind of controls that sort of way. When your immune system is called into action, it helps kind of make it as efficient as possible. Now, sources of them, we're looking at nuts and seeds, avocados, and dark leafy green vegetables, or the dark leafy green, so spinach, Swiss chard, turnip greens, so the tops of a turnip. Now, deficiencies in vitamin E can manifest in muscle weakness, impaired vision, acne, movement and coordination problems, so that's also known as ataxia, and damage to your red blood cells. And last on the list is vitamin K. So there's 2 types of vitamin K. There's K1, which is from plant-based sources, and K2, which is from animal-based sources. So K1 is involved in photosynthesis, so that's why you would get it from the kind of leafy greens and that sort of stuff that is really green and rich in, or will have photosynthesized. So the K2 then is produced in our GI tract, and on a side note, babies are actually born with a sterile GI tract, so it takes them a while to be able to build up to producing K2. What it's important for is 1 and 2 are both important for blood clotting. K2 is important for amino acid metabolization, so it's helping break down the proteins from your dietary sources, and it's important for cell signaling within bone tissue as well. Now, sources, K1 because it's that plant-based vitamin. You get it from leafy greens and cruciferous greens, so that's kind of sprouts, broccoli, that sort of thing, and asparagus is another good source of it. Now K2 then is, you're looking at the likes of cheese, egg yolks, grass-fed butter, chicken, duck and goose livers, and beef is a good source of it, and so is dairy. Now deficiencies in vitamin K can lead to anemia, a tendency to bleed excessively when you cut yourself, or excessive bruising. So you bang your arm off something and it bruises straight away, or bruises last longer. But it also can lead to calcium being sent to the wrong places in your body. So instead of it going into your bones, that it could lead to a build up in your bloodstream instead. So this is why it's important to get a healthy dose of vitamin K as well in your diet. So yeah, that kind of sums up a pretty brief overview of each of the vitamins and what they're used for and what their sources are. I think if you are looking for one dish to one meal that could really nail most of the most amount of vitamins, I would say an omelette with egg whites and egg yolks, plenty of spinach, some tomatoes, some peppers and onions, maybe a bit of chicken, and a side of liver, because liver seems to have everything in it as well. So yeah, I hope this was some bit informative, and if you have any questions or any feedback, drop me a message, let me know, and yeah, I'm more than happy to cover off topics if there's anything of interest. Thank you very much.